Welcome back to SOAP UI tutorials. So in this session we will see introduction about RESTful web services. Okay, so REST stands for representational state transfer. So to explain you in a single line, or we can say that it is an alternative to SOAP protocol. Okay, so by now I guess you people are familiar with SOAP protocol. It is used for communication between the web services, right? To invoke a web service, we use SOAP protocol to exchange information between your web application and web service, or between the two web services. We use SOAP protocol as a communication between them, right? But it is not only the possible transport protocol which is used to exchange the information between the web services. Okay, so till now we have seen how to validating SOAP messages, sending messages, getting a response for a request. Okay, we have kept assertions for it. So basically we worked on SOAP messages, okay, request, response and fault and everything. But this is not only the possible protocol we have to communicate with the web services. Okay, so we also have a name called RESTful web services, or we say if we communicate between the web services by using a REST architecture, we say it as RESTful web services. Okay, let's see. First of all, in this class we'll see why REST, why not SOAP, and what are the basics you need to know to start with RESTful web services. Okay, see, for a SOAP or communication, the name itself says that it is a protocol in the sense the set of standards to be followed while sending the messages. Okay, for example, if you go back and open any request or SOAP request, let anything. Okay, so this is a SOAP request which is sent to response. Okay, we will add our data information here and it will get exchanged to the web service. But observe here, there is something called envelope. If you have referred my previous module, I think module number 3 about SOAP basics, in that module I have clearly explained what is the SOAP structure and what are the elements it passes in a SOAP XML and all. So you can refer that module to know about a SOAP body structure. Okay, so what are the elements defined inside the SOAP, and we have discussed depth in that module. Okay, but I'm just giving an overview. If you miss that also, I'm just telling you there is a header. Okay, and we have closed the header here, and this is the body, and we have closed the body, and this is envelope. And this shows that we are following a set of standards, like we are defining environment. In environment we are using header and also body. In the body we are writing our desired information which is to be exchanged with the web service. This is a set of protocol you need to follow every time to send at least any single data also. Okay, to send at least a single data also, you need to have header tag, body tag and envelope tag. You should possess a set of standards to send a SOAP message. Okay, that's what I told you before. The name itself says that SOAP protocol in the sense a set of standards to define your SOAP message. Okay, and also this WS extensions such as WS security, WS addressing. So all these I have discussed in separate module called web services extensions. You can watch that module to know about all these. Okay, here what I am trying to say is, whenever we send a SOAP messages, we may use the WS extensions in our SOAP based request message. Okay, these are necessary sometimes to use. Okay, this security, adding this extension to our SOAP message will check for security purpose to avoid any threats, and WS addressing helps us to whether our SOAP message is delivering to the appropriate address, and this reliable message will help us to say how securely our message is getting transferred to the receiver end. So there is a discussion on this. You can refer that particular module to know about it. But here, with SOAP messaging, we may use these extensions to work. Okay, all these extensions and this header, body, or an envelope, all this makes our XML heavy. Okay, so when you are sending a message or when you are communicating with a web service with these kind of XMLs, like we are using huge data. To set a single name, we are using header, body, envelope, and these are not mandatory, but these WS extensions, which causes you with a performance degradation values. Okay, performance may degrade, right? So when you are talking with your web service, if you have all these tags for exchange of single data, you may face issues. To overcome all these performance problems, there is an architecture called REST. We use that particular REST architecture to communicate with our web services. But I cannot tell that SOAP protocol has its disadvantages, and that's the reason we are moving to REST. And these WS security, addressing, and reliable messaging may need in your exchanging message to keep your exchanging message highly secured and reliable. Okay, this RESTful will not give guarantee about your security and addressing, but at the same time it has less performance degradation compared to SOAP UI, as it doesn't have compared to SOAP protocol, as it doesn't have these tags and all. Okay, still debates are going on which is best and which gives accurate. So we cannot come to conclusion that yes, this particular is best in providing all. Both have the advantages and disadvantages. So we cannot conclude that a RESTful is the solution for a SOAP protocol. So it has, you cannot use this all standards, because this is provided by WS, which is nothing but WS specification people. The SOAP has a protocol which follows W3C standards, but whereas REST, will see the futures, REST does not follow those standards. Okay, first of all, REST is not a protocol also, it's just an architecture. Okay, so it's not a protocol. Okay, so yeah, let's discuss about REST features. So I just used comparison between SOAP and REST. If someone asks you, what is the basic difference, SOAP have a set of standards for sending a message, as it uses a protocol called header, envelope, and all this, and due to these a performance degradation might cause while sending a messages, and which you can overcome with RESTful web services. And also the WS extensions, security, addressing, and reliable messaging and all, there are still many WS extensions are there which can be used with SOAP protocols to make your exchanging message information more secured and with tight security, which is missing in REST web services. But it's lightweight alternative for SOAP. Okay, there will be no performance degradation. We'll see what is the REST, and now we'll start actually what is it possess. Okay, the first sentence what I say is, it's not a protocol. you can directly invoke your web service with the HTTP methods. Okay, so what are the HTTP methods available for us? Get, post, delete, put. These are the HTTP methods. Okay, see this sentence. We will use standard HTTP methods to access the resources. Resources in the sense operations in a web service. Okay, so in a web service, in a previous classes we have seen that in an employee portal web service we have add employee, get details. Okay, we have, right? So access the resources, any kind of resources from a service, you directly use standard HTTP methods. In a single URL you will mention everything. Okay, so whatever you want to send information and whatever you want to get, everything you will be sending in a using HTTP methods. Okay, this is the first basic. We use just standard HTTP methods. Apart from like structure like body, header, we'll use just a URL which possesses HTTP method and a resource information. Okay, let's see what is this resource information you need to use in your URL. Okay, how to use this resource information and all. Let's just dig into it. Right now, keep a SOAP protocol aside. Please don't compare when I am talking about REST services, because you may get confused finally. Okay, just listen it as a new topic and a new story, because I start any introduction class with a kind of story, right? So just listen in that way. In next class we will see the practical implementation, just like how we have seen in mocking and our introduction web services. In next class we will see about how it actually works, but just try to understand something in this introductory class. Okay, yeah. For example, I'll go to Google search, and Google search is one API or one service. Okay, I need to invoke that service with the parameters I pass. Okay, that service will be invoked. Now I'll say SOAP UI. Yes. Okay, so I invoked that Google search web service by passing some parameters. Now just investigate this output. Okay, observe here we are passing parameter as q equals to SOAP UI, plus is for space. Okay, so now to invoke SOAP UI web search, we are passing a resource information called this SOAP UI. That means what I am trying to say is, to invoke any resource you need to pass the related resource information in your HTTP method. Okay, so now I have used this resource information to invoke my REST web service. Okay, so what I am trying to say is, everything we will mention in a single URL. Okay, just we will use HTTP what kind of action to be performed, either get, post. Let's see what this means. Okay, I am just trying to tell you that one of this operation plus resource identifier, and this is a resource identifier in our example now. So we are sending SOAP UI here, right? And these are optional parameters. This says my IP address maybe, and many parameters that it will take care of. Okay, but from your side you are sending a resource identifier as SOAP UI. Okay, in this scenario we have used get method. Okay, now one more question arises: how you are deciding and when to use what method to invoke operation? Okay, that's other challenge. So let's switch back to this first, and we'll understand when to access what HTTP method, and we will try to come back. Okay, get is like read operation. Okay, I will send some data, based upon that okay, send me the response so that I'll read. Okay, here I have sent some information deliberately and I am getting the result. So for your information, what you have sent from request side and response side, it will give information related to your request information. That means we are reading actually something from our response. That's it, right? So you have sent some information and you are reading the response. This is the response what we got. Okay, so get operation is used for just like a reading an output by passing some information. Okay, so what about post? In this get method, we deliberately mention our resource identifier in the URL. Okay, when we are using this get method, we deliberately mention our resource identifier in the URL and we will read back the response. So here our scenario is I am trying to Google SOAP UI search and I will get the results. So I want to read the results. So in this scenario, I will go with get HTTP method and you can mention your resource identifier in the URL itself. Okay, that's about get. Now post is like creating something. Okay, for example, you are logging into Facebook. That means you are creating some session. Okay, you are creating one instance of one session. You are not gonna read anything from there. Okay, so you are logging in, so one session is getting created. Okay, for example, I am telling you, you are trying to create something, but whereas in this case you are just retrieving information based upon your information you send. But in a post case, you are logging in, you are creating an instance of session. That means this is similar to like create operation. Get is similar to read operation, post is similar to create operation. In this post HTTP method, you are not allowed to pass a resource identifier directly in the URL. Okay, I am writing here, resource identifier will not be passed from the URL. I mean, it will not be in a visible mode. Okay, so let's try an example. Some book may show sign in. Observe the URL here. You will not okay. So sorry. When you get signed in, your URL is not getting changed. Okay, then click on any other link. It will show the support past events. Here this is get method. Okay, past events is our resource identifier to find this page. Getting? So I'll copy this and I'll let you show again. Now you will have a clear idea. Here in my first case, when I logged in, the URL did not get changed. That means here I have used post HTTP method. Did you observe? When I clicked on logged in, I got this page, but URL is constant. If you did not observe, just make your video back and play again. You will see that when I logged in, URL is not got changed. Okay, because why it happened? And whatever you are clicking here, user ID, password, whatever you entered is not visible here, because they have used post HTTP method here. In post, the information resource identifier what I are trying to pass will not be visible publicly. it will be sent in an encrypted format. Okay, in a backend, from backend it will be sent, but you cannot see it in public. But whereas in a read operation, you will see it at public. If you want get more clear, try to log in in any social website like Facebook, Gmail. When you log in, will you see your user ID and password here? No. If you don't see here, then you may come to conclusion that yes, they have used post HTTP method to access it. In our before example, I have clicked on SOAP UI and searched. There in a URL itself I can see SOAP UI. It is publicly visible and we are getting some result. That means they have used get HTTP method to read that operation. So this is the difference between get and post. And now I clicked on this applications. Okay, so let me click on movies back. Yes, when I clicked on movies, the resource identifier what I am trying to use is visible here, and there I have entered SOAP UI. SOAP UI has entered in URL. Okay, here you see SOAP UI has came in URL, and here I try to click on movies, that is present in URL. That means they have used get method. We are trying to read some information and we have sent our resource identifier in URL and we got the response. But whereas post is something like creating, session creation or some creation, not reading, or putting something in web service. Okay, so we use an resource identifier, and along with resource identifier we use get and post method to invoke REST web service. Okay, don't say REST web service. To invoke web service we use resource identifier plus HTTP method. That's all, nothing but a REST architecture to invoke our web service. Okay, so this is how the REST web service are defined. Okay, so REST service is like in our case bookmyshow.com is a REST service, because this is a main basic endpoint which service all resources got hosted. Okay, movies, sports, offers, all these are resources which got posted under the basic endpoint bookmyshow.com. So this is our main service, and under this REST service we have movies, sports, offers, and all these are resources. Now let's see how can we invoke those resources from our request side by passing data in the form of URLs. Okay, so just keep a theoretical knowledge till now. Okay, just that there is a kind of web service like a REST service, and there are resources just like operations, and to access those resources you need to use a resource identifier in the URL, and that may be that can be achieved with the help of all these HTTP methods. Okay, you may have little confusion, but when we start practically working, and I'll show you, you can map my practical movings with my theoretical discussion, and at the end you will get very clear idea. Okay, and now let's see what actually REST and how it works. I'll give you basic example. Give me a moment. Okay, if you go to the SOAP UI official site, they have given us one link to get RESTful services. Yes, so Google API, they have publicly invoked their REST API into the internet. So we use this Google REST API for performing our things. We use this to test our RESTful web services. Okay, I'll just show you example. In next class we will do practical stuff on this. Okay, they have exposed their APIs, Google guys. Not only Google, Twitter, Facebook, Yahoo, all the high social networking sites have exposed their REST APIs. they used a REST web services, not SOAP. Okay, and they use the REST and they have exposed them on net so that you can invoke this API from your SOAP UI tool. Okay, by using REST architecture, by using the standards which I have discussed before, like resource identifier, get method, post method, by using those you can invoke these APIs. APIs is nothing but services. Okay, employee portal is one service, places search in a Google places, okay, places search is one web service, place details is one web service. Okay, these all are APIs. Okay, yeah, so let's just, I'll show you one service. Okay, just see that place search is the API here, and yeah, so this is nearby search. Okay, place search, what is the parameter? Yes, in this place search API, these are the resources available for us. So let's take this resource, nearby search. Resources in the sense operations in that service, like get employee details or something. So a nearby search lets you search for places within a specified area. Okay, if you mention a specified area, it will search you the places. Okay, this web service, this API is basically for searching places. You need to send an area from your request side, so it will take the area and it will give you to the places nearby that area. That's what this service says. Okay, if you see this, nearby search slash output parameters. Okay, here you need to pass your resource identifiers. Okay, what you are going to search, you need to pass in this URL itself. By seeing that, you can understand that this is a get method, because it is asking us to pass the parameters in the URL itself. So we need to pass our resource identifier to identify this resource. Okay, so they have given for as example also. See, they have passed parameters like this: location equals to some 33, radius should be 500, type is food. Okay, we are providing all the information. Based upon that, it will give the places for what we are searching. So we are searching for a harbor name with a type of food with a 500 radius and in this particular location. Everything I am passing in the URL. Okay, so with this URL, when you invoke this web service, I mean this API called nearby search, you will get an output with the nearest places data. Okay, I'll show you the output how you get. Yes, search responses you get like this. It's in Australia and something. Okay, let's see this from basic. You may get a confusion when I talk about this. Let's start from the scratch. I'll open my SOAP UI tool and let's start from the beginning, how to create a project and how to find the service and how to find the resource and everything. So let's start from the scratch in the next class. Okay, please keep a hold on this theoretical data. This really helps you to do REST web services. Just keep aside of SOAP UI and kind of methodology we used in okay, that's entirely different from this. We will send entire information in just single line to invoke the APIs. Okay, so yeah, let's see that in coming classes. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so let's put load on the Google Places API. Fine, so let's try to uh, import this API into our JMeter and start putting load on it, right? So first let's understand this API. It's a place search.
These are the different REST API requests you have. So let's go with nearby search request, and yeah, this is the URL this is the HTTP request which you need to send to the server, and the output you will have in, let's scroll down and see. Okay, nearby place search. Right, these are the required parameters you need to pass for this HTTP request. Remember, when we are dealing basically in JMeter, when you try to provide a HTTP request, at the same time you provide parameters too. For example, we have seen Mercury login. Mercury.newtours.com is the server, and slash login is the path, and parameters you will provide username, password, right? In the same way here, this is the maps.googleapis.com is the server URL, right? This was our server URL, and this is the path where you need to navigate in that server. Got it? For example, if you want to click on the images in the google.com homepage, fine, so it will be like google.com slash, for example, you clicked on images link, and then this is the link displayed after navigating to image page. Here google.com is the server name and images is the path you have to navigate from this server. Got it? So in the same way, they have given us a REST HTTP URL. Okay, this is basically HTTP URL which is handled by REST API. Now, by seeing this, you have to come to a basic understanding that googleapi.com, this is our server URL, and maps, API plus, all these are our, what we call path. And here you see slash output question parameters. Path is still here, it's path, nearby search. And these are the parameters which you need to send to this request. Okay, so the parameters what you need to send are here, you have them: key, location, radius, and rank by. These are the four. Okay, this is the optional parameter, so right now it's not required. So but we need to go with these three required parameters. Okay, output in the sense, okay, what the Google has done is, when they have designed their API, they have designed in such a way that the output may be in JSON, may be in XML. If you are looking for XML, place slash XML here, and if you want to see output in JSON, and go with slash JSON, right? Question mark, and then provide parameters. So this is our HTTP URL. So let's try to design this test case in our JMeter, and then we'll start putting load on it and see how this is behaving, how the request and response we are getting when the load is applied on it. Okay, so let's go back to our JMeter tool. Right. So for more details for REST API, please watch my previous sections where I discussed REST API basics. And coming to JMeter, if you are watching this video without without going through the basics of Apache JMeter, so please go through my course for Apache JMeter web performance testing. Right? If you already have a kind of basics on JMeter, you can follow this lecture. So if you are not aware of what JMeter is, where to download and how to start working with it to put load, so I request you to watch course videos of mine, JMeter web performance testing. Right, so here this is the JMeter tool, and we'll try to add a thread group, basically where we define how much load we need to put on this REST API. Let's go with some 25 users will access at a time. Fine, and now go to sampler and say HTTP request, right? Because all the REST APIs are based upon HTTP request only. So just select HTTP request, and give any name for it. It's REST API load test. And provide the path till here. This is our server name, right? And for path you need to select maps to nearby search and slash output. So let's say I want output in XML. Okay, and now the parameters you need to pass, question parameters. You can just write it down here and say key equals to something, location equals to something, in that way. Or you have one section, see here, send parameters with request. You can just click on add and keep on adding each parameters here. So we need to pass these three parameters, right? But at the same time they have given example for us where we can go ahead. Yeah, this is, you can pass these parameters, location, or you can go with JSON as well. So XML or JSON, it's up to you. So let's go with JSON then, right? Location, pass name and value, add radius, by 100, okay, and types, put, these are the different parameters you need to pass, name, okay, these are adding at the bottom, crews. The last one is key. Add your own key here, right? You need to generate your own key to make the things work. If you don't know how, please watch my previous modules where I discuss how to generate your own key to work on Google REST API. Okay, I should have my key here somewhere. Okay, I'll paste it here. So this is my key. So each and everyone will have their own key. You need to generate it. So as I told you, watch my lectures to get this key, right? Fine. Okay, so we have added parameters. You can also add those just by providing a question mark, just like this. Okay, give me a moment. Where's the Chrome browser? Yeah, you can just pass this complete URL into this path. Even that works. You can even send parameters in your path because this is a GET request, right? If it is a post, then you need to paste it here, right? Fine. Now we are at GET request. So for GET request, you can pass the parameters in URL itself, or you can just write it down properly here. So this makes looks good, and you can design in a proper way if you have the separated parameters with the request. Fine. So yeah, that's it, and we have created HTTP request. Basically in JMeter we just record and try to put load on it, right? So if you even record those, you will get a path and IP in this way, but these are REST APIs. There is no web browser or something where you can record this, so you have to manually create this HTTP requests. Okay, so if it is a website or something, you can start recording and JMeter will provide and fill up all these fields for you. Okay, but this is a headless browser and all these are handled by just a request and response mode, so you need to do it manually. Okay, we have successfully set the parameters, given a path based upon the APIs what we have here, and let's thread group we are setting up to 25 users, and let me add run listener, say view results tree. Okay, right, so let's start it. Before that, okay, let me remove the HTTP. This is not required because by default HTTP will be concatenated by JMeter. You just need to write maps dot from here itself. Okay, maps.googleapis.com. So it's enough if you start from it here, not required HTTPS extensions and all. And I'll go back to my view results tree and start running it. It should run for 25 users, right? Let me click. Yeah, you can see that that's it. We have done, and see how body size in bytes, response data, request to this API. Okay, there is something wrong here. If you see it here, it says error message, request denied, request to this API must be over SSL. Maybe the key what I have provided is expired here, so that's the reason I'm getting some weird error here. Or I think request to API over SSL. Okay, it should be secure. Did I? Right, let's give HTTPS here. I think this should work because it's asking the request should be transferred over secured layer, right? So HTTPS will serve that secured layer for us. And let's try it again. Let me delete all these. Yeah, okay, fine. So we got response data, right? So remember, we can achieve the same thing with SOAP UI tool. Okay, so there we have done all these and finally we got the response. So same style of REST API testing you can also achieve with JMeter 2. Fine. So same thing, you have this kind of UI to enter parameters in SOAP UI as well, path, server name, and ultimately you will see the response in the right side of the pane in SOAP UI tool. So same thing you can achieve in JMeter also. But the other feature what you have here is you can also load test it. Of course, you can do load testing with SOAP UI tool also, but I'm just saying both SOAP UI and JMeter will work well for REST API testing. Okay, so this is how you can test your REST API using JMeter tool, right? So if you are in my SOAP UI course, if you have enrolled in my SOAP UI course, you know how to execute these REST APIs and SOAP UI test cases from that tool. Okay, so this is a handy, even with you can achieve this with the help of JMeter. If someone or at your work, if they ask you to work on JMeter for running this REST test cases, you can use this. But if you want to automate them, SOAP UI is the perfect, right? So manually you can do this in JMeter, but if you want to automate these test cases, passing the values dynamically and scheduling the Maven runs, Jenkins, if you want to develop a framework, then SOAP UI tool is the only solution for it. Even you can do with JMeter, but that's a very hard one. Okay, you can do it smoothly with that tool. If it is a manual perspective, then this looks good for you. And if you see here, right, place ID, this all the response you got, JSON response when you send the data, and it says body size in bytes 4180. Okay, so you can now get the parameters. So how much time it has taken, load time, see, first load time is 613, but at the 25th request load time is 572. It's coming down. Okay, so it's clear idea for it, right? See how the load time is getting down, and 1 minute, let me go up, 613, and this is really 458 and good. See, 6 load time decreasing means it's a good for us. If load time increases, then there is a problem with our REST API. For example, if load time is 600 and if it is a 10,000 or 1000 at the last request, that means there is something fishy with your API. it's not able to handle even 25 requests also. But here that is the not case. Load time is fluctuating. It is 600 at the starting, but at the end it is 400. That means it's good. However, this is expected because Google have the big servers and you are just putting the load of 25 users. Go and put 5,000 users and see. Then you might see the load changes, right? But I don't want to do it now because definitely Google have some mechanism and will stop us after some 1,000 requests, saying might be it is a robot. Okay, until unless you have valid permissions, you cannot do that, right? So this is how you can actually test your REST API in JMeter as well as putting load on it, right? If you want other parameters as well, you have a proper listeners here, and you can see what is the aggregate report and run it again. Okay, you can see the total samples, 24 samples, 25. Okay, the execution done. Average time it's taking 972 seconds, and 90% times it was at 1378. And throughput, this is the important parameter. So each request took 5.2 seconds. Okay, so in this way you can, there are many listeners in this, it's up to you, go and explore and see what you want, right? So that's based upon the parameters what you have given from your client or from your work. Okay, they have some people might be asking only throughput, some people might be asking what's the load time it's taking. Based upon the parameters given by your client, that parameters you need to set it in this listeners. Add thread group, right click, add listener. Based upon that parameters, see what reports, what listeners will fit your parameters, and import that and verify the reports. Okay, so that's how you can put and load on REST API. So it's similar and straightforward. If you want to see some other requests, just I'll just as assignment try this. Okay, so this is a server and this is my path. These are output parameters, and output parameters you have it here. Just try it out and see the output how you are getting. Okay, so my assignment here is, if you are already enrolled in my SoapUI course, complete this REST API test case, test it in both SoapUI as well as JMeter. Okay, so do it in multiple tools, it will get a lot of confidence to you. Okay, if you are not having in the SoapUI tool course access, then you just come do this assignment in JMeter. So as first request I have explained in my lecture, right? So it's your turn to do the second text search request. So if you are able to do this, then you will be getting a proper confidence. And if you are facing any difficulties, please drop me a message in our discussion so that I'll address there. And this is the link where you can hit and check it, but make sure you generate your own key. For that, watch my previous lectures. Fine. So that's it about REST API testing in JMeter as well as putting load on it. Thank you.